what happened is the townspeople rose up, they signed petition after petition, they came, they spoke, they've asked for a vote, they wanted to be heard. Now, I do not see that happening with the Little League in the park. I do not see that happening with the Town Center Task Force. If that were the case, then yes, residents should have the right to be heard, and then you take it to the vote. You cannot compare the council making a split 3-2 vote, putting the library at the park as the preferred location, and a unanimous council saying, go forward, Town Center Task Force, go through the process. Don't spend any money, you don't have any money, go forward, get the private donations, go through the process, and now all of a sudden saying you've got to take it to a vote. That's very, very different. And the Little League in the park, I mean, I think that was just something that happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and got put on the ballot. So I just want to make that very clear. It's two different animals. So.
I think that after listening to Bill's comments with regards to the wording, it's probably appropriate to leave the word predominantly in, primarily in. You know, for me, the issue is you know, no new taxes, and you know, for me, I think that there's a lot of consternation, which I'm a little befuddled by because of the fact that people said all along the money's there, and I heard at the meeting, people said the money's there and it's just waiting to come. And if the money's there, then there shouldn't be an issue. It's much to do about nothing. But perhaps the wording needs to be changed somewhat here or there to get to the heart of the matter, or to phrase it so that if people are afraid, people are going to say no, 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 that an answer here would be yes or whatever. I don't know. I don't have an issue with that. But what, you know, with me, the issue is, you know, we're going down the road, and I agree that we are talking about a library, or excuse me, a new town center, you know, a police building. It's primarily going to be both police as well as our administrative buildings. We do need it. I think that we do need something, and we're willing to put the $2 million in, as well as potentially some other. As far as I'm concerned, there could be some other dollars that come from the general fund, if in fact it was part of our normal capital plan. But I'm not. I think the word primarily is fine with me. It doesn't have to be taken out. But I do think, you know, it's essentially getting the feeling from the community on the taxes. And I don't think that it's something that is inappropriate. But that's where I stand at this point in time.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm a little confused with what you just said, because in one sense you said you could use the general fund for some of the funding.
That's what he said with regards to, that's why he
but
put primarily.
Also, so you don't want any tax money. So
I said that I was willing to give some leeway on that.
that's
not to put, you know, I don't think it's necessary that we cut off our nose to spite our face with regards to this. Exactly. And we cannot preclude what's going to happen in the future. And as you pointed out, we may raise $7 million or $8 million and need $1 million left. And if we have, you know, we could tighten our belts and say, do we need to spend $3 million on putting new street lights, or could we forego that, or something in the Atherton channel and forego that and allocate $1 million for it? That would be something that I think would be reasonable from my perspective. And that's what I think that Bill was trying to capture in the words, if I recognize it.
I was shooting in the dark and still a little confused. What this says is that you could use, I was using the language from the last council meeting, and basically it said You could use other funds, including the building
Right.
fund and things.
Grants. and-
But I specifically wrote in there as a comment from the last meeting, not using general funds. Now, what you just said,
Yeah.
those funds are general funds.
Yeah.
The capital improvement funds are general funds. There are some non-general funds that can exist,
Mhm.
and those are funds that generally derive from, state of California sometimes gives money to us.
Well, I was trying to give some flexibility.
And to be very clear, I cannot see any circumstance under which library funds could be used at all,
No.
with or without this.
No.
The library, I think Jerry said it exactly correctly, the library tax money that was approved by voters of the town of Atherton may only be used for library purposes. Now, there is a very remote possibility where if you have no library of your own, and there is no county library in which to use those funds, they could sheet back to the town to be used for other things. But I don't think anybody has ever done that. I can't find a case where anybody has done that. So I just want to make sure that we're all talking from the same perspective. The library is not an issue with respect to these funds. And quite frankly, from my point of view, can't ever be used, no matter what you try to do.
Well, Jerry had
There was a second, motion and second on the floor right now.
so can we repeat the motion,
You want me to?
please?
Elizabeth, motion to not go forward with the town center task force ballot measure. Councilmember Carlson seconded.
We'll have a vote on that.
Can we roll call?
Yeah.
Councilmember Carlson?
Yes.
Councilmember Dobby?
No.
Councilmember McKeithen?
No.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Whitmer?
No, I think we need to have a vote on it. I think we need to discuss whether it's binding or not.
I move that we go forward with the resolution and the ballot measure as written by our city attorney, which includes the word primarily, and that it be binding.
And with the word stricken, that we talked about earlier, where it says along with the council chambers and
Yes.
library.
Yes, and with an explanation that construct includes construction and design.
It would, if there was a second to that motion, it would also be helpful to talk about the one line that says, but would not use general fund or partial tax money, because there is some confusion, I think it's been raised tonight.
Well, my concern is that, which has come up earlier. So the question here is, should we construct a new town center, okay? And some people may say yes, and some people may say no. But the issue isn't should we construct one, it's how it should be funded. And so, to me, the words here can be somewhat confusing and could preclude or cause somebody to vote one way or the other, thinking that we're ready to construct, because number one, we're not ready to construct. But secondly, the issue is the funding and the method of the funding, not whether we should have I think it's inappropriate for us to say, should we construct, yes or no, because the construction, this council and previous councils have said, yes, we think we need to go forward. The question is, how should it be paid for? And that's what is at issue with me. Not should we do it or not do it, and with all due respect to Mr. Gibney at the Almanac and John, and some other people who think maybe we don't need a new town center. I do think that we need new facilities or reinvigorated facilities. The question has been, but what does the public think about paying for it? And so I'm a little bit concerned about the wording. I don't know if our town attorney could offer any input that will clear up my confusion. That would make my confusion go away, let's say that, if that's possible.
Well, more importantly, right now, there's a motion on the floor, that had specific language, and I had indicated that you might want to, the motion maker might want to clarify that language. Otherwise, if it gets a second, then you can discuss if there's any revisions that need to be made. Unfortunately, I can't draft for the ones. I had to draft for the majority, and I'm still waiting for clarification for exactly what you want to see in this, other than we certainly have a motion now that's pending but hasn't been seconded.
I'll second
Do you know what you're saying?
Perhaps we could write it,
What-
should the
what-
town of
what?
Atherton use
No,
primarily
you're not
private
seconding
donations to construct and
They're-
design a
they-
new town
They
center?
made
I couldn't hear
changes,
it.
you're not
it.
seconding.
Well, why don't we read
Well,
it
he
again
doesn't,
so
he
that we
doesn't know
can
what
know
he's
it?
seconding.
Should the town of Atherton use primarily private donations to construct and design a new town center? Other funding sources might include.
Or a to-be-designed town center.
And that would focus in on the funding source.
That's really all that as a representative of the taxpayer, that's all I'm interested in.
Should
Why
the
don't
town of
we read it
Atherton
again
use,
so we know what we're-
primarily use private donations to construct and design a new town center? Primarily use private donations to construct and design a new town center. It's just switching the focus to the donations.
And not say anything about other funding
Yes, they
sources.
continue on with other funding sources.
Because the way it says now, it says, just to be clear, it would not use general fund or parcel tax money.
But that's in conflict with what Mayor Widmer had said that he wanted.
That means the mayor will have to decide how he wants to vote, because that
I'm just
language is in there
saying,
right now.
I mean, there's just all this, swirl of confusion.
So it would be.
Well, honestly, if you want my clear-cut position, I'd want no taxes, no tax dollars going into the building that we said we would build with private donations. But I'm not trying to make things so untenable that we'll never get the facility. But if you want my personal clear-cut vote, my vote is, I want no tax dollars to go towards this building, or series of buildings, or pavilions that we would have linked together as in the discussion.
Well-
I've been pretty clear about that all along,
This-
including during my campaign.
But this says it would be primarily private donations, certainly not general fund or parcel tax money. It could be other tax dollars from special funds.
Right, and so I'm willing to let the primarily thing go, because it offers some,
It still
Latitude.
offers some latitude.
all right? I'm sorry for being a little bit harsh, I apologize, to the public as well as to the whole
Do you
council.
understand what that does? It comes primarily from private donations. It wouldn't come from general fund or parcel tax dollars. It could still come from some special funds.
So I have a question to council. What is your objective in this? What outcome do you want to achieve?
To have no tax dollars.
Yeah.
No. What outcome do you want? Do you want yes or no?
Yes, yes,
You want yes?
yes.
Okay, what happens if you get no?
I think if we all support it, we will get yes.
No,
And
what
everybody-
happens if you get no?
Then you start all over again,
Then you have to
and you
go back
clarify it.
It tells us what the people want. Which maybe we
You
may
know,
have
if
to
we get
agree
no,
with,
it's the
but-
same thing with everything else, as with everything else, then you start all over again.
Oh.
And you live with it and you start again.
I just can't believe this.
Okay, that's my motion.
I'm
Did you
absolutely-
second that?
I'll second.
All right, do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Carlson?
No.
Councilmember Dobby?
Yes.
Councilmember McKeithen?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
No.
Mayor Widmer?
Yes. So with that, we conclude our meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Also make.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you for coming.